a little girl turned 7,
Yeah.
and her mom said, "What do you want to do for your birthday?" And she goes, told her mom, mom said, "You can do whatever you want." And she said, "I want to have my birthday party at Harvest." And she goes, "Why?" She goes, "When we used the food bank, it was there for us. We don't anymore, but I want to be there to help somebody else." And they came, and they helped, and our volunteer services set up a whole special area. We had a cake, her name on a banner. They came, and they had an amazing time.
It's another great Winnipeg Harvest story. But for Keren Taylor-Hughes, it speaks volumes about the impact it has in the community. With just over a year as CEO for Winnipeg Harvest, Keren is bringing to light new hopes and dreams for our province's biggest food bank.
I have the privilege to sit on several national committees, one being, through the federal government, the market basket measures, that's Canada, allowing us to look at where the poverty line should be and what that should include. So being at the table from Manitoba, I thought was huge. We can talk about our very vast demographics, that we have a lot of folks that live northern, that are not in the north, as they consider places like Iqaluit, etc., but north of the city and living in more remote communities. So talking about those challenges, as well as looking at the number of families and children that we have with the second highest child poverty rate in the country. So being able to really tell them our story is important, to be at that table at a national level. And the same with Food Banks Canada. We're looking, that's been an organization for about 11 or 12 years in its inception, from this new iteration of that, and looking at how best they can serve nationally food banks across the country, including Winnipeg Harvest. Harvest is a community, it's sort of an organization owned by the community. They support us fully through funds, time, and money. And as a result, I think everyone has a part to play in that whole change that we're going through, and making sure that we're providing for the families that are in need. So aligning with both the city and provincial governments are really important, and we want to be aligned with everybody that's working to do the same thing. I think we need to work together. It's people who make change. And I think if we can be a catalyst, or we can be a part of that with other folks in terms of partner organizations, as well as the government and community members, to make change in our province, to make it a better, stronger province, have less people living in less than desirable circumstances, giving children a strong beginning in school and better trajectory for school going forward. I think that would be fantastic.
Hi, how are you?
Just walking around. You guys are prepping for Food Bank tomorrow?
Yeah.
We're in an age now, female empowerment, education, those might be a couple of things, but Harvest in a whole, and the lack of food and the whole education of that around it, where are some areas that you'd like to really put your mark on?
Well, one of the things I'm focusing on here is, because what we do, we have a very small, we call them crew. Our crew is small, and we help to really orchestrate tons of work through our volunteer crowd, which can be up to 10,000 a year, come through and support us in all kinds of levels and areas. So I really want to make sure that those that are in leadership roles are really well equipped. So we've done some leadership training, that we partner with an HR company that's doing that for us. So we're learning how to be better at asking and be clearer and understand who we're asking and why we're asking things for, and if it's going to meet their needs. I think it'll be very helpful to us. And then we're also starting a book club. My goal was to be in a book club. I love to read. And in the space of a month and a half, I'm now in 3. So we had 2 different levels of leaders in our organization, and each of them are reading a book. So my goal would be that in a year, we get through every quarter 1 new book on leadership and leading. And our team mostly is female. Just the way it is. We have very few males that work in leadership here. I'd love more if the opportunity arises. But again, really making them empowered and strong, and being able to have confidence and make those decisions and be rational, logical, but still have that passion and compassion is really important. So I would like to say, if I could look in the future, that people would think, if they were not-for-profit or a new starting out, that they would think anyone that came from Harvest in leadership would be a really good catch, because they will be well-versed in leadership and learning how to handle and manage lots of circumstances that change constantly here, but always have that heart and making decisions, that wise decisions that will think of all the ripple effects.
If you had to choose 3 words to describe Winnipeg Harvest, what would they be today?
3 words, wow, that's tricky. I would say caring. Number 1, we care for each other as a team and an organization. We also care for those that we serve. So caring is 1. I think serving's another. That's what we do. We serve. We serve our volunteers, we serve our donors, we serve people that come through our food bank and into the food bank community. So serving's another. And I would like to say learning. I think I want a culture that we're going to be learning about what can we do to help our folks? How do we understand the challenges they have? How do we advocate on their behalf and make sure that we're doing all that we can to make sure that dollars are kept in their pocket for food versus other things like utilities, rent, and partnering with agencies and supporting other community agencies that do some of the other things that we don't do. I think that we are the food people. We focus on making sure that everyone has the food that they need to get through the weeks, and other agencies do other things that we can support them with in terms of that. But I think we want to be really good at the food business.